All right, get to the Lions in a second. Yeah, that update on Vrana, that's one of the weirdest stories you're ever going to see. The only thing I could tell you is there's just no way Steve Yzerman was going to expose a perfectly fine player to waivers and lose him for nothing. When the guy, according to Kenny, obviously he's a good player when he plays. And according to Kenny, the efficiency's off the charts. I mean, Kenny's charting his own Corsi with crayons. The point is, no one knows what the hell's going on. And I'm sure as hell not in the business of speculating. But the fact that Steve Yzerman put him out there, and the fact that another team, who, look, $5 million is not free, but it's not some ridiculous Milan Lucic contract, like you're not taking a dead body on. And everyone just went, nope. No thank you.
Yes.
So it is really, I'm not ready to call it a shrewd move because I don't think you put the guy there because everything's perfect. Something's clearly up, but we're not going to go there. I know Kenny's been speculating in the hallways all day, but that's slanderous and we're not going there. It's just a weird situation. It really is. I mean, Kenny, do you believe he plays for this team again?
I think down the road it's definitely possible. Like I told you, the efficiency was off the chart. That's real. So once he gets right in Grand Rapids, I think he's got to get his sea legs under him a little bit. But once that's done with, I do see him returning to this team.
You do? Okay, but if that was always the case, and I know they had to make room for Fabry, who's coming up, and he scored 17 or 18 goals last year, why would Vrana be the guy you would choose to presumably get rid of?
Well, I think Steve Yzerman probably knew nobody was going to take a swing at him. $5 million isn't crazy money, but it is for somebody who doesn't.
Do you want to
play.
come clean and just tell us what's going on?
I don't know what's going on.
No, I'm kidding, and don't say a word.
So is this? Could they possibly be setting this up for a trade?
I see that. That's another theory that people have had, but I don't see what you're going to get from this guy.
Right. If nobody would take him for free on waivers, they basically served him up like a poo-poo platter, and people went, no, thank you.
$5 million is a lot for a guy who's not going to play.
So, Kenny, what's
and he's
going
not
on?
going to play right away.
So what's going
I
on?
don't know what's going on. I'm not going to speculate like you guys.
Why does Kenny Cott not have a hockey podcast? The Cottcast.
See, I don't know what's going on cast.
Fine.
That's what I feel like right now. I don't know
would cut
what's
into
going
his
on with the
bar
guy.
time.
Locked on Booze, a Kenny Cott podcast
Live from
production.
Tipsy's.
Or you
Right.
know what? Right, you could actually drink while doing the podcast.
I'd have these crackpot theories that I'd be like 4 or 5 beers deep. Let me tell you about Jacob Vrana.
Well, I think people would love it. Why not?
I'm into it. Can we sell it?
You got to do it first.
Hello.
No. You'd have to actually make sales calls to sell something. Not sure people in this building quite understand
Why
that.
did you place the T right there, kid?
Kenny.
Up for it.
Kenny.
I don't have the flag. Can somebody throw the flag, please?
There's no flags. Pick up the flag.
Oh, there we go. There.
Break the board.
Dave's trying to get us off the air.
No. First, Mike pointed to center field, and then he.
Okay, we're good. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, we're moving away from the hockey before we lose our whole audience. I want to offer you a trade. I can guarantee you one thing this weekend with the Lions. You have to pick which.
Okay.
Now, it's a bit tricky because the thing I can't guarantee is the result of your game against Green Bay. So here's what I'm offering, and I want to know what fans would choose. Now, I think it could be an easy answer, but I want to offer it. I guarantee the Rams lose to Seattle earlier in the day. And that locks in your pick at 5, a top 5 selection, which realistically, I think I could say with some level of certainty, you will have the right to draft the best defensive player in the draft. Potentially. Or, and by the way, go into a must-win game, and the problem would be no one thinks you're winning that game. So you get the pick, but you probably don't get the spot. But you get an exciting game. Or I guarantee, hold on. Actually, time out. I did this wrong. The Rams winning hurts your pick and puts you 9th. But it makes your game meaningful.
It's winner take all.
Winner take all, but you're probably not going to win. But you want the chance, and the pick plummets to 9. So now any dreams of Will Anderson are off the board. Or the Rams do what they do. They lose. They eliminate you. and you get a top 5 pick. If I could guarantee what the Rams do, what would you take? You would want them to win, right? You'd forego the draft pick to take a shot. Kenny went nuts yesterday when we were just kicking this around. If that pick,
Kenny and I have disagreed upon this for the last month.
well, why don't you sort your differences out, throw the number out, and let's get cooking. I'm down.
248-539-9797. As tantalizing as it is for the Lions to go to the playoffs, if you could lock up another defensive player to come off of that line, you'll start making the playoffs because your defense is going to be better.
And you can't guarantee they make it.
Brad-
All
Brad-
I'm guaranteeing is you would get the opportunity to make it.
Brad Holmes is showing he can go out and he can get players. So try to get higher picks, better caliber players. And now instead of just talking about maybe winning the NFC North and maybe making the playoffs, you get to that silly talk that most Detroiters say, Super Bowl, and we ain't never going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you start improving this team. You start improving this defense. And now you can legitimately say, yeah, we may have a Super Bowl caliber team. We could be one of those teams that you could, if you said, hey, the Cincinnati Bengals could make the Super Bowl, yeah, okay, I can see a path for that. You can name a lot of teams. But when you start saying the Lions, people laugh at you. You improve that defense. You get a high pick. That can help you lock up that defense, Kenny, for the next few years. The playoff game, it's nice. It's short-term thinking. I'm thinking long-term. I'm thinking about building something.
But what
here.
Kenny, see, here's the problem. Again, I want to be clear. Kenny, I'm not saying that if the Rams win and damage your pick, you also beat the pack. No. No, I'm not offering that to you. I'm saying, are you willing to pay the cover charge to play in a winner-take-all game of your pick being damaged and falling to 9?
No
Now,
question.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. And no, this isn't right or wrong. I'm trying to gauge what people want. Because here's the reality. The reality is you're probably not winning that game. Now, I will root like hell for them to do it because I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm saying regardless of what you choose, you're going to go into that game probably 5.5 point underdogs. If the Rams just go out and tank against Seattle, I think Rico has a point here, and I'm going to stick up for Rico, which hurts me because it will build his bulbous ego. But Rico's right. Picking it, like, what helped San Francisco? Getting a Nick Bosa, right? You get that guy. In your case, you're hoping Aiden turns into that. But what if I could get you another one? Let's face it, the Lions, I'm going to say this, and maybe some will make fun of me. The Lions are a playoff caliber team. They are. There's really no great separation between the Lions and Giants or the Lions and Seattle or the Lions and the Packers. They're a playoff team. Mm-hmm. If I add a top 5 pick to that, you're getting an elite player because remember something, you're not taking a quarterback.
Right.
And 3 of the top 5 are probably quarterbacks. So I just don't laugh at what Rico is saying about the value of that pick versus this hope about the Green Bay game.
Because if you're talking 5 picks in the top 78 and you could get pick number 5, and we're all seeing what, with Houston and what Holmes is doing with players lower in the draft, you get him a chance to get a high player to go along with Aiden because he, let's face it.
Can I give you another thing?
Yeah.
That builds into your point right here. Let's say you have that number 5, and you do have 5 of the top 78. A lot easier to move up from 5 to get Will Anderson than it is from 9.
That's true.
If I put Will Anderson on one side and Aiden Hutchinson on another, and then I'm rotating guys like Houston and company and Aquara and the rest, guys, what you would have foregone this year, you probably get back in spades next year as you win the division and host a playoff game.
Because now you're talking, hey, this is a Super Bowl caliber team.
Correct.
Not just going to the playoffs. The playoffs become
it.
a foregone conclusion in this city.
I get it. So I'm asking, if I can guarantee the outcome of the Ram game, which side of it do you go to? It's short-term gain versus the long-term. And yes, there is no one saying you can't get a great player at 9. That's not it. I have said I have had fantasies of Will Anderson ever since we knew the Rams stunk. Ever since we knew. Hey, how about this? When you were 1-6, we were talking about you using your pick to take him. I want to make the playoffs desperately. But I also am willing to see the other side and have the conversation. 248-539-9797. And again, even if the Rams beat Seattle, there is a less than 50% chance of you winning that game against Green Bay. Now, if this was an issue about, hey, Rams win and you're in, Rams lose and you're out or something like that, well, then there's no conversation. They just put us in the playoffs.
Right.
This is still, you have to go to Lambeau, 30 degrees prime time, where the network has set this up for Aaron Rodgers to do it. And you know the refs are probably going to bone you too. And I'm just saying, Rico makes a great point, and he's lived it through experience. When you get the benefit of one of these wacky high picks, and yet you're a talented team, it can put you over the top.
Yep. That you can be down to your third string quarterback and still be the second best team in the NFC.
Brocktober.
PCB.
Your defense better get that turned around.
Okay, now do you believe me when I say, hey,
Excuse
they're a
me.
struggling team?
Excuse me.
Kenny told me, I don't want to hear that anymore. Okay.
All right, go ahead, and then we'll get to the people. Lots to discuss here with the Leos.